February 1959, 9 experienced hikers set off into the Ural Mountains of Russia. They were not beginners. They were not reckless. They were among the best hikers in the Soviet Union, students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, young, strong, prepared for everything. Their leader was Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old, experienced, trusted, the kind of person you would follow anywhere. They were never supposed to disappear. When the group failed to return on schedule, a search party was sent into the mountains. What they found would be studied, debated, and buried by governments for the next 50 years. The tent had been torn open from the inside, not cut from outside by an attacker, not ripped by an animal, torn from the inside, as if 9 people had suddenly needed to escape so desperately that they could not wait to use the door. They had run out into the snow in the middle of the night, in temperatures of minus 30 degrees, without their boots, without their coats, without any explanation that made sense. Some were found in their socks. Some were barefoot. Some had clearly tried to climb a tree. The bark was torn and bloodied where their frozen fingers had clawed at it. And then the details that the Soviet government did not want anyone to know. One of the hikers was missing her tongue. Her eyes were gone. Another had injuries so severe, so internal, so crushing, that the Soviet medical examiner said they were consistent with a car crash, not a fall, not an animal, not exposure, a car crash, in the middle of a mountain where no car had ever been. The radiation levels on several of the bodies were unusually high. The Soviet government moved immediately. The entire area was classified, closed to civilians for 3 years. The investigation files were sealed, and the official conclusion was so vague, so deliberately empty, that it said the hikers had died from an unknown compelling force. That was the official answer, an unknown compelling force. 9 people were dead. 9 families wanted answers. 9 sets of parents buried their children and were told nothing. The theories have never stopped. A Soviet military test gone wrong, a secret weapons experiment, infrasound from the mountains causing mass panic, an avalanche, a confrontation with Mansi indigenous people, a paranormal event the government could not explain and chose to bury instead. Every single theory has holes in it. The avalanche theory cannot explain the missing tongue. The military test theory cannot explain why 9 experienced hikers would run barefoot into minus 30-degree snow instead of sheltering. The infrasound theory cannot explain the radiation. In 2019, 60 years after the hikers died, the Russian government reopened the investigation. Their conclusion? Avalanche. The same government that had classified the files for 50 years, that had told grieving families nothing for decades, now expected the world to accept avalanche. The families did not accept it. The researchers did not accept it. And neither should you. Because here is what we know for certain. 9 experienced hikers were so terrified of something inside that tent that they tore it open with their bare hands and ran into a blizzard to escape it. Whatever they were running from, they considered it more dangerous than minus 30 degrees with no shoes. We do not know what killed them. We may never know. But we know the Soviet government knew more than they ever told us. We know the files were sealed for a reason. We know that families spent decades asking questions that were never answered. 9 people walked into those mountains full of life. What came for them in the night has never been named. That is the history they hoped you would never find. This is Facts They Buried. Every week, the history they hoped you would never find. Subscribe. The facts are buried. We dig them up.